Hi everyone, it's Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and we are doing our weekly Facebook Live here in the Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. And this time I have a topic that I'm going to be speaking about, and if we have people join, then feel free, and we do have people joining already. So as you join, go ahead and tell us where you're joining from. And I'm going to speak on tonight's topic first, and then if you have any questions, just any questions about psychic protection, then go ahead and you can actually type those in now, or you can wait until the end. Okay, so hey Debbie, nice to see you, and tell us where you're joining us from. Hi Jennifer. Debbie's joining us from Kansas City. Cool. So if you have any burning questions about psychic protection, let me know. I'm going to get to them second. So I'm going to just jump right in while we're waiting for people to join. I'm going to jump right in and start talking about our topic. So our topic is just basically some advice that I have for those people who have chronic issues with psychic protection. So this information is for you if you are one of those people who has had issues with unwanted paranormal activity off and on for quite a few years, or for your whole life. Or if you feel like you've experienced psychic attack often, if it's not just a one-time thing, but you can think of several times when it has happened. And by psychic attack, I mean like you are negatively affected by people sending negative energy to you. Would you say, if you would say that you have a chronic issue, if it's a recurring, then these are some things that I want to share with you. Okay, so the first thing is that most of the time, the people who come to me who are having issues with unwanted paranormal activity or psychic attack kinds of issues, or both, right? A lot of times it's both. Most of the time, those people, when I start to ask probing questions, because I'll say, oh, have you had these kinds of issues before? And they'll say, oh, no, not really. Or maybe yes, maybe no. But then when I start to ask more probing questions, what we find out is that they've actually had issues off and on for their whole life. Like maybe it started when they were a kid or an adult, but regardless, it's been a chronic issue off and on. So, in fact, I can't think of a single client or student that I've ever worked with who has come to me with a serious issue and has insisted that they've never had any unwanted paranormal activity before that it's like all of a sudden this big thing. That could happen if you had like zero activity. Excuse me, if you had zero activity and then you end up moving into a haunted house, that could happen. Okay, so you could end up suddenly having weird activity because of that. But for most people, it's a chronic issue. Okay, and this is why, you know, when I talk to the community in general, just like the public, when I talk to the public, there'll be people who will say, well, I've never had issues like that before. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I've noticed that people either don't have issues with this or they do a lot. So it's either one extreme or the other. And you're in this group, or you've searched for this video and found it somewhere because you're one of those people that's had those kinds of issues, right? So you are who I'm speaking to. And welcome to all the new people who have joined. Tell us where you're joining from, okay? And I'm going to speak on this topic first, and then I'll answer if you have any questions about psychic protection tonight. I'll be getting to those second. And by the way, every week I basically I just follow my inner guidance as to what we need to cover. And this is what was coming up for me today. Um, and I'll kind of tie it together at the end as to why I knew we needed to talk about this topic. So if you have had chronic issues with psychic attack, with unwanted paranormal activity, one of the things, again, another thing that I've noticed when I work with clients, especially when they've been under severe attack, like, really frightening stuff, and they come to me for assistance. Either they're under severe attack or moderate attack, and it's been going on for such a long time. And they're so done. Like, they're just like, I want this to be gone like yesterday, Understandably so. It's disruptive, it's scary, it's upsetting, like all of those things. I totally get that, and I've been there. But here's the thing: a lot of times people will come to me and they will maybe I'll do one clearing session, and then I'll give them some things to do at home. I can't even tell you how many times people will email me, or actually like the night after or the day after, and they'll say, I feel great, I feel so much better. And I'm like, yes, that's totally expected. You're going to feel better. This is great. But then like 3 days later or 2 weeks later, they will email me and say, I'm having issues again. And so it didn't work. Like the one clearing thing that I did at home for myself, I did it, but apparently it didn't work. Or the clearing that you didn't work. What I want to point out is that you have to be, so here's my number one point. I actually have 4 points here. If you have chronic issues with psychic protection, I'm talking about years of issues, not just a little tiny issue. Little tiny issue we can clear. If you have had years of issues, you have to be realistic. And I almost want to like speak this really loudly. Like, you have to be realistic. If you have had, I'm going to repeat it, if you've had years and years of an issue, you have to be realistic, okay? A lifetime issue, realistically, is going to take years of clearing. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to have to come to me for 10 years. That's not what I mean. That's actually not what I encourage for people, because that's encouraging a codependent relationship. I will help you get started, but there is work that you will need to do for years. And I'll explain that here in just a little bit. But you do need to be realistic. Okay. Another thing that I notice with the people that contact me who are in dire straits, and they'll say that they contacted so-and-so healer. I get people all over the world, so they'll contact me and say, they worked with this shaman or this healer or whatever, and they said that they would clear it completely, and they charge them like $1,500, and they say, I'm going to clear this completely for you forever. And then it doesn't work. And then the client contacts me, and they're like frustrated because they've already spent a lot of money. And what I have to explain to them is this point number one. You have to be realistic. It takes years to clear. And I don't mean any ill intent to any other healers out there. I support everybody. Okay. I support everybody. And with that said, honestly, I would use extreme caution with any healers who are saying that they can clear the issue once and for all forever in one session. Because I've never seen that work. I have had so many clients come to me who've been to practitioners who say that they're going to do that, and it doesn't work, right? And think about this. So maybe I should explain. Someone's having chronic psychic protection issues. they are chronically being psychically attacked by different people or by entities. There's multiple things that are making that person vulnerable. There's multiple causes that need to be addressed. And again, I will get into that a little bit more in one of my future points here. But it's multifaceted. And so I would use a lot of caution. Again, it's not my style to discourage you to go to any particular healer. I just want you to use caution. If somebody is giving you like magical thinking that or fantasy thinking, I guess is what I want to say, fantasy thinking, that they're going to take care of it in one session. And usually the people who are doing that, well, sometimes the people who are saying that are charging a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with charging a lot of money. That's a whole other subject. That's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down. But if it's not doing what they say it's going to do, then yeah, there's something wrong with that. Okay. If they are actually solving the problem, that might be worth it. So yeah, be realistic. If you've had a lifetime of issues, it's going to take years of clearing. And I'm going to tell you what these steps are here in just a second. Hello, everybody. So let me go back and say hi, and then I'm going to go on to our steps. And I love that I'm talking about this tonight. I'm kind of on my soapbox, and I hope you don't mind me being on my soapbox. Well, those of you who follow me know that's kind of what I do. So we've got Jennifer, we've got Debbie, we've got Nichelle, we've got Christina, Dina, Zahira, Marla, Anne. Zahira is joining from Washington. Anne is joining from Canada. We have several Kansas City people here today. I live out in the country outside of Kansas City, so I have a lot of Kansas City connections, but also people all over the world. And I love you guys. Actually, it feels like some of you, it feels like we're good friends. Like, I wish we could teleport so we could all have a get together out at my place, but I digress. Okay. So, what I said at the beginning was that if you have any questions, I will be answering those at the end. And we haven't had any questions yet. That's actually fine because I don't want to lose track of them. So as I'm finishing up my talk, that might be the best time to post your question. Okay, so my point number 1 was you need to be realistic. If you've had chronic issues, be realistic. Okay, so now let's talk about, so I said if you've had a lifetime of issues, then there's going to be, you're going to expect years of clearing. And now for point number 2, let me get into what I mean by years of clearing. Okay, so item number 2, and maybe you'll take notes here. This is really important. Item number 2. So the first step is for you to do some powerful emergency clearing. If you are currently having moderate to severe issues where you feel like you're under psychic attack, then you need to be doing some emergency clearing. And here, again, this is where people get tripped up. And I get it. We really do live in a McDonald's mentality culture where we want things quick. And long-term is not really what we want. And I understand. I mean, who wants to be dealing with an entity issue for a long time? You want it gone, like, instantly. But we have to be real. I've worked with and talked with tons of people. Tons and tons of people. So I'm telling you, I'm just helping keep it real. Wouldn't you rather know the truth so that so any issue, whether it's psychic protection or any issue in your life, your doctor gives you some news or whatever. Wouldn't you rather that they told you exactly, like, this is what's going on, this is what it's going to take, so that you're actually taking the right steps and not wasting time, not doing the right things, right? So point number 2, excuse me, the first step is to do some powerful emergency clearing, but you don't do that just once. The people that come to me for sessions, whether it's online or here at my office, when they've been having chronic issues, I will give them a set of different things that they need to do for clearing. And it's different for everybody because every situation is unique. But typically, I will recommend that people are doing those clearing protocols for 3 months daily. So daily for 3 months or 6 months or longer. And every time people say, oh my God, that's a long time. And I get it because they want this issue to be gone. But I tell them you have to keep at it. You have to keep doing it every day. Remember, if you've had a lifetime issue, it takes months to clear out the most severe aspects, and then years to clear out all of the, all of the other layers that have made you susceptible in the first place. Okay. Hey, Holly, good to see you. Awesome. So the first step is for you to do some powerful emergency clearing techniques. I actually don't cover very many of these in my free material. I've gone out of my way. I very intentionally create a lot of free content. I really want I want the community to have access to a lot of free stuff. However, when it comes to the solutions, those are found in my paid programs, and that's just how I've chosen to structure how I do my work. So there's like tons of hours of free content, information, just tons of information to get you started, basic and intermediate information about psychic protection. But when it comes to doing an emergency clearing and dealing with a major psychic attack, I'm going to direct you where to go to for that. So there's a kit on my website right now called the Psychic Protection Emergency Kit. And that is really comprehensive, like tons of information. I'm not trying to sell that to you right now. I just want you to know, if you feel like you want more and you want more from me, that's where you would get it from. And my website is psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. And it's the Psychic Protection Emergency Kit. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to keep that up because I might be making some changes. But that is an online course that you do yourself, and it's all step-by-step how-to material. And I specifically created it for people under psychic attack, having severe issues, and it tells you exactly what to do and gives you all the steps, videos, and everything. So that's where you would go to for that. Okay. And what I would say is, if you've been doing things piecemeal, trying to solve the issue for years by finding random videos wherever, has that worked for you so far? Anyway, I put a ton of work into creating this, into creating that. So that's there for you if that's what you need. As you are doing the emergency clearing, then the issues will lessen gradually. Okay. Usually it's not going to go away right away, or actually it might go away right away, or it might lessen, but then it might try to come back because it's been with you for such a long time. So let's say you do a clearing with me and you're all cleared, but your set point for your energy is set in such a way that you're used to accepting entity attachments, for example. And so even if I reset you, you go out into the world and you're living your life and you go back into your home environment, your system is going to want to, at some point, try to go back to its set point that it was at before. And this is just, that's normal. I mean, you go to a chiropractor and they fix your spine so it's not out of whack. And then, after a week or two, if your spine has been out of whack for years and you go for one appointment with the chiropractor, they're going to straighten you up and fix you. Maybe in one appointment they'll be able to do that, maybe. And then you go on with your life, and in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, your hip has gone out of alignment again, because that's what your body's set point was used to before. So it likely will take you a few chiropractic appointments for your body to get used to that new balance, right? So when you're taking care of the emergency level of the issues, you have to also be realistic that it takes time to clear. It takes time to help your energy system to take hold of that new, healthier, more empowered set point where you're no longer attracting or receiving negative energies, entities, and that sort of thing. Okay, so the issues will lessen gradually, but you have to stick to it for a while. Like I said, I usually recommend 3 months, sometimes 6 months. People are doing daily protocols, and that is just the reality. I should call this video, when I upload it, I should call it reality check. This is not McDonald's drive-through, like quick meal or whatever, fast food. It's not. This is your reality check. This takes a while. It really does. So point number 2 is that you need to work on clearing out the emergency aspect. If there's severe stuff going on, you're going to do some like exorcism level clearing and healing work. You can have me help you, or you can be doing all of it and learning how to do it yourself, which I highly recommend. And then my third point is that once you have taken care of clearing out the immediate psychic protection issues, so once you're out of the emergency zone, then you have to dive deeper into many years of doing personal development and personal healing work. And this is what I meant at the beginning when I said, if you have had years and years or a lifetime of psychic protection issues, then it's going to take years of clearing and healing. So it might not take years and years and years of clearing out your immediate issue. That likely would take more in the realm of months to clear out completely, depending on what it is, right? But as far as resolving the issue completely so that you are no longer a target for such things, that is going to take years of healing and years of personal development work. And I made some notes here. Let me read off some examples of what I mean by personal development work. Now, first I'm going to point out that these things that I'm going to talk about are the issues that actually make you vulnerable to psychic attack, unwanted paranormal activity in the first place. Okay? So the idea is that rather than just throwing a bucket of water on a wildfire and hoping that it goes out, we need to actually look at resolving the root causes of the issues. Okay, so in point number 2, I talked about clearing. Oops. I think we got disconnected there for a second, but we're back. Okay, that doesn't usually happen. So in point number 2, I talked about clearing out the immediate emergency issue, but now You've got to really do the layers of healing work and healing those things that have made you vulnerable in the first place. If you don't do this, it is very likely that even if you clear out the immediate issue, that later that same issue will return, or a different issue, a different kind of psychic protection issue. So another psychic attack or another unwanted paranormal activity, etc. Okay? So some of the personal development work would include learning how to manage your energy on a daily basis. Like how to keep your energy strong and stable and not overwhelmed when you are living your life and out in the world, and how to manage the energy of your home. How to manage your energy when you're encountering other people's energies, especially their shadows, like those hurt and wounded parts of them that they send towards you like little daggers. Can you learn to manage your energy so that when their shadow stuff comes up, you don't receive it as a psychic attack anymore because you've healed that part of you? Okay? Managing your energy so that you're not as much of a match for ghosts, wandering ghosts that want to attach to you, other kinds of spiritual entities wanting to attach to you. Learning how to notice, to manage your energy in such a way that you're able to pick up right away if something is starting to happen, so that you can resolve it immediately instead of a few months down the road when it has turned into a major emergency. Also, part of this personal development work involves healing your past traumas. We've all had different traumas. When I even say that phrase, you probably have certain things that you think about from your own life, whether it's from adulthood, whether it's from childhood, or even if you believe in past lives, it can be traumas from before this lifetime. But especially so, the primary focus, healing your traumas from this lifetime, is, I think, number one. Healing your past traumas, healing any past victimization. Because the reality is, if you have been victimized in the past, then that actually has an effect on your energy field, and it does make you a match for future victimization, whether it's by a person who's a bully, a person who's going to send you psychic attack, or spiritual beings who want to attach or attack you, okay? Depending on what you have going on energetically, you might be a match to any of those. And I am not in any way saying that it is your fault. That's actually one of my pet peeves in the spiritual community, when people do, there's a lot of victim blaming and victim shaming, and that's not where I'm coming from at all. What I'm saying is that if you want to heal the root causes, the things that are making you vulnerable to this issue, then you're going to have to go, eventually, you're going to have to go back and heal some of those past issues and those patterns of victimization. And that's many years of inner healing work, very many years. And it's not only going to help reduce some of this unwanted unwanted paranormal activity, but it's going to help you to have healthier relationships in your life and to have a better life overall. So it's overall healing. Some of the other aspects of personal development work, developing self-awareness of your emotions. So being able to be in touch with how you're feeling right now. Being self-aware. Being in touch with what your beliefs are. If a false limiting belief pops up, being aware enough that you're like, ooh, there that is. Being aware of your triggers, your projections. Are there things that you're in denial of within yourself that you project out onto others? And also being aware of your inner shadow. So those unhealed aspects of you that you've been avoiding, that you've been stuffing down, that you've instead been projecting and deflecting onto others. All of that has an effect on how we interact with the world. So the more active your pain body is, like the more trauma that you have, that does have an effect on how you're interacting with the world around you, how you're interacting with the spirit world around you. And it can make things more messy. It can definitely make you more of a target. If you were to ask me what is the number one thing that I have seen in common with every person that I've met who has had chronic issues with psychic protection, I would say every single person has had major past trauma, whether it was childhood abuse, whether it was sexual assault, whether it was being a victim of a crime, or some other horrific event. There's major trauma in their background, and that's your sacred task, is to work on healing that. Does that happen quickly? Can you just hurry up and make that be fixed because you want to be done with it? Healing just doesn't work that way. It just works on its own. It works at its own speed, right? And my fourth point here is that this process, releasing any issues of psychic attack, healing past traumas, healing those things that make you vulnerable to psychic attack, all of that is a spiral journey. It's not a straight line. So you think that you've made progress and you think, oh, I've totally resolved this issue, whatever it is. I've totally resolved this issue. I'm beyond that now. Well, anytime, I'm just laughing because whenever I think that, then the universe throws a little reminder to me, like a little personal experience that shows me that I'm not done yet. So it is a spiral. So you keep revisiting the same things that you're healing, the same lessons, the same triggers, the same wounds. You keep revisiting those over and over again, and each time you heal them more and more. And each time you move through it a little more gracefully, and each time you move through it a little more quickly and a little more easily. Okay? So, all of these 4 points, being realistic that it's going to take years of clearing this issue, as far as clearing it completely. Point number 2, you need to do your emergency clearing, clear out the immediate issue, but even that takes quite a while. Number 3, you need to intend to spend many years doing personal healing work. And number 4, it's a spiral journey. You are never done, but it does get better. And if, as you're going through this journey, if you find that an issue pops up again, don't beat yourself up. There's 2 things that people do that I've noticed. They will beat themselves up and they'll say, oh, I haven't gotten anywhere. I'm just back where I started. No, you're not back where you started. You've made a lot of progress. But remember, it's a spiral. So things do resurface, and it's just an opportunity to keep healing it. And so don't beat yourself up. And also the second thing that people tell me is, oh, that means that what I was doing before wasn't working. It didn't work. So that's just not true. It was working. It did work, but it, like I said, it's a spiral and things will keep revisiting. And I told you at the beginning that I'd share a little story. This is just a little mini, it's not even a story. It's just a little self-reference here. So the reason why I even thought about talking about this topic tonight is because Friday night I had a friend over and we watched the sunset together out in the country, and we've been friends for a few years. We share a lot of things, and I told her, you know, in the last year, things have been a lot more peaceful. I actually used to be one of those people who was chronically experiencing psychic attack, unwanted paranormal activity, like the dark forces were beating up on me like all the time. And it was always one thing after another. And I had to be so like hyper vigilant about, like, every day I had to be doing clearing work and protection work. And like, I mean, I had to actively be doing that stuff every morning, every night. And it took like a concerted effort I was doing that for a couple years. Well, by the second year, I wasn't having to do it every single day. But yeah, I mean, I was having to really focus on protection, grounding, clearing my energy, like all this stuff all the time. But after a period of time, my system got stronger. And I told her, I said, in the last year, I really haven't had anything major happen. Now, a year ago, there was some stuff that was blowing up, and then I cleared a bunch. And then the last year has been really peaceful. I mentioned like a couple little blips on the radar. I said, but everything's been really peaceful. So I was telling her this on Friday night. Saturday morning, I woke up and I realized, oh my God, I am under major psychic attack, like major. And I tried to get out of bed, and my spine was in so much pain, I couldn't walk. Now, people have injuries or their back might hurt or whatever for like normal physical reasons. But I've been working in this field for long enough that I know when, I know the signs, and I'm not going to go into the whole story. It's not the right time for that. But I know the signs and I know how things add up. And there were definite indicators beforehand that something was about to happen. And I just kind of ignored it. I mean, I didn't totally ignore it. I took note, but I didn't really take action. So that was a good learning experience for me. Painful one, because I had to call friends over to help me on Saturday and on Sunday because, like, I could barely walk and I was in pretty bad shape. And one of the symptoms of a psychic attack can be a sudden onset of physical pain or an injury or an illness. It can actually have a normal cause, but because there's negative energy being sent your way, then that activates it, if that makes sense. Like for me, my spine is, that's a part of my physical and energy body that are in need of healing, that are not as strong as they could be energetically. There's some issues going on there already. So it was very easy for the negative energy being sent my way to go directly to my spine, if that makes sense. So I immediately recognized, okay, I know exactly what's going on and I need to clear it. And so we did some house clearing. I had someone come over and did a personal clearing, did a bunch of clearing on my back. In this instance, I actually was not I wasn't angry at the person who had sent it because I just wasn't. I was like, I really don't even think this was fully intentional. Sometimes people can have very, very strong emotions that are being that they are directing out into the world. Now, granted, we're responsible for what we send out into the world. We are responsible for it. But in this case, I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just working on clearing myself. This was a good reminder that even if I say, oh yeah, it's been much better for the last year, I still need to do my work. I still need to pay attention. The thing is if you have had chronic issues with psychic protection, you're probably never gonna be done completely. Like for me, I am not under attack all the time, but I still have to be more aware than maybe somebody else. I have to be more aware and notice these things and take action. So what I should have done was, when I had the weird foreboding dream a few days before, and when a weird incident happened, then that next day, I should have taken some empowered, energetic action, just for grounding and strengthening and that sort of thing. I should have done that, and I didn't. And by the way, I don't know if you can tell by my tone, but I'm not beating myself up over it. I didn't say, oh, Maya, you should know better. You teach about this stuff. I was like, nope. Okay, well, this is a good thing for me to talk about in my Facebook Live. That was like the first thing that I thought of, was like, okay, well, I have stuff that comes up for me too. And so this is a reminder. So no matter where you are in your journey, if you've had ongoing issues, stuff is still going to come up once in a while, and you still have to pay attention and you still have to do something about it. Now, if I had had the McDonald's drive-through fast food mentality, which I don't, I'm actually a health foodie, by the way, but that's a whole other thing. If I had like the fast, quickie, quick solution kind of mentality, I would have said, well, the things I have done over the past couple of years, they obviously didn't work because look, this thing happened. No, actually, there is a cumulative effect when you do your psychic protection, your spiritual empowerment work on a daily basis, when you do your shadow work, when you do your personal development work. It has a cumulative effect in making you stronger, making you more resilient, making you less receptive to those negative energies, right? So, like, I do think that over the past year, let's just be real. I'm living in the world. I'm interacting with people. I'm somebody that has strong opinions and has a strong energy. And being out in the world, there's probably people who have not liked me and they've sent negative energy to me. That's probably true for you too. That people send negative energy. I mean, they don't realize that they're doing it a lot of the times. But if you're super sensitive and you haven't done much of this work that I'm talking about, then it just comes right through and pierces you. Can you relate to that? Do you feel like you're a really sensitive person? That's a gift, but you've got to work on healing that so every single thing that people feel about you isn't received as a psychic attack. So, and then over time you'll get stronger. So in this instance, with my situation over the past weekend, I did a bunch of my own physical healing work, energy work, clearing, and then I just looked at other people are going to have whatever experience they need to have, and it's up to me to work on strengthening my energy. So I didn't make it all about like, that person sent blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. I don't know. But I'm staying in my own lane and I'm working on strengthening my own energy. And it's a process, right? It's that spiral journey where we keep revisiting things over and over again. Ooh, Debbie. Yeah, so I have about 5 minutes right now for a couple quick questions. We focused less on questions this time and more on the soapbox topic that I wanted to talk about. But Debbie, I love your question. In fact, I know people are going to ask this when I share my story. Debbie's asking, how can you tell who has been attacking you? Okay, so there's not really an easy answer to this, but really it comes in developing that personal, that self-awareness that I was talking about, that in learning to manage your energy and learning to own your stuff, becoming more self-aware, becoming aware of what kinds of energies are coming from other people, then you're able to have that awareness where you're like, okay, this is what's going on with my energy. This is what's coming towards me, right? And those are things that, like, there's not really one exercise or one answer that I can give you for that. It's more of a journey. It's developing your intuitive senses as well. However, I will give you one little tidbit, Debbie. So if you, one of the things that I teach is using a pendulum, and this is a really great tool for asking yes and no questions. And you can ask, if you feel that you're under a psychic attack, you can ask certain questions. Is so-and-so sending me psychic attack? Yes or no? And you look at how the pendulum is spinning. Now, I'm not going to teach how to use a pendulum in this video. Remember what I said at the beginning, where most of my like how-to kinds of things are in more of my paid programs. I do go into pendulum work in depth in the Psychic Protection Mentorship. If you feel drawn to that, then check it out on my website. But I also know there's probably like 1 million videos on YouTube about using a pendulum. So if you don't want like the whole in-depth, all the steps that I teach, and you just want a little sliver, then you can look up some videos on YouTube on how to use a pendulum for yes or no questions. And then you would ask, is so-and-so sending me psychic attack? Or is so-and-so sending me psychic attack? But one little word of warning, is that sometimes when you're under psychic attack, it really can cause some distortions where it makes it harder for you to get correct, accurate, intuitive answers. It can even mess up your pendulum if you are not already really good at using it, right? So if you're under psychic attack, and those of you who've experienced severe circumstances can probably attest to this, that sometimes depending on the nature of the psychic attack and how strong you are versus how much it's really taken you over, it can really make you feel like your brains are in a blender and it's hard for you to know which way is up and which way is down. And in that case, you probably need to have an expert help you. You could have a psychic reader maybe check for you, an intuitive reader. That's something that I help with people with in one-on-one sessions. People will contact me and I'll help them get to the bottom of the issue. We'll figure out where it's coming from and what's going on. And I check intuitively. And I'm able to do that because well, that's my skill set, but also I'm not in the middle of your situation. When you're in the middle of it, your own emotions are tied up in it. So it is really good to have an outside person assist you. So that's a little bit of some info to help answer your question, Debbie. Do we have any other last minute questions? Okay, so while we're waiting to see if we have any other questions, I just want to make sure that you have some resources. And whether you're new to me or not, I might go over some things that you haven't heard of or maybe you forgot about. So I want to start with the free resources first. because I do have a lot of those. So the two free resources that I have are the Facebook group. This is a support group, and this is where this Facebook Live is happening right now, and it's the Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. If you're watching the replay somewhere, go to Facebook and join that group. You do have to answer a couple questions because it is a private group and we don't want like robots and lurkers in the group. So you do have to answer the questions in order to join. And it's a great place to ask questions and get support. And it's a very positive place. And then the second free resource is my YouTube channel. And this is where I post all of the replays of these Facebook Lives and other resources. And there's lots of free videos. And it is, if you go to youtube.com, it's just type in the search bar, Psychic Protection Sanctuary. And I do have another third resource, and it's my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. And there are some freebies on there as well. So on there, you do have to type in your email address in order to get the freebies. But if you're looking for free stuff, there's 3 places where you can get a ton of stuff. Now, if you're needing like how to clear out a psychic attack right now, help, that would be on my website. There's something called the Psychic Protection Emergency Kit. If you are more interested in going deeper and learning how to not only clear out the immediate issue, but learn more than that because you've had many years of psychic protection issues, then that would be the Psychic Protection monthly mentorship. That's a 6-month program with me. It is going on right now, and I'm not going to be offering it all the time. So hopefully when you watch this video, it will still be happening. And then so that's one of my monthly programs that I have, or one of my monthly groups. My other monthly group is, actually it's not open right now. It's opening soon. It's the Spiritual Empowerment Academy. And that is very comprehensive, where we go through all of the personal development work that I was talking about. So if you want to really resolve all of those issues once and for all, that is the group that you go to. So that should give you a lot of areas that you could go to for resources. Does anybody have any last minute questions? I think we are good. Okay, well, thank you. We actually had some other people joining. Hi, Jeannie and Phyllis and Sherry and Edith. Nice to see you guys. Okay, well, we went for about an hour tonight, so it was really wonderful connecting with all of you. And if you have any questions for next week, just let me know. Sometimes I do choose my topic that I'm going to focus on based on questions in the Facebook group. So feel free to post any questions on there, and I would be happy to address them. As always, sending you all my love. See you later. Bye.